then again, if you have estrogen, all hope is lost. So I didn't think I was gonna have anything to talk about today, but to be honest, yeah, I saw this, of course, saw this on my timeline, and why not, bro? Not only I'm just so fed up with people talking shit about LA Knight, just because, like, then you have Kevin Nash, constantly contradicting himself, while also sounding like a huge, just a complete dumb jack donkey. Trying to confirm myself from a cursing also lately, because I know there's potentially his kids watching this. Of course, there's children that watch me, so yeah, sorry, but of course I gotta be mindful about that. But so I'm getting a little fed up right now too about Kevin Nash, of course, having his britches and just letting the stinkiest of garbage fall out of his mouth, and really just talking smack. And alright, Nash. yeah, especially the ones like Nash. Alright, Nash, so you wanna play? I can definitely get into that. And I'm definitely finally just like, which I'm pretty sure y'all not new, what's been going on probably like for the last week or so, is everybody reacting to, I've seen it everywhere, of course, LA Knight is a ripoff, or Kevin Nash just straight up dog walking LA Knight for whatever reason. And like I said, it's okay to have an opinion, but I don't know, because I think the first time he said it also, it sounded like, it sounded super stereotypical, kind of hypocritical, and just like, even when taking it into context to his own career. Also, like, by the way, that of course any fanboys of Nash, big empty Diesel himself, he's not gonna let you suck him off, alright? So ain't gonna try, coming in here whacking him off for him, and being in attendance for him. I'm sorry to say, he's not gonna let you suck him off, alright? For no matter how many times you yell it into the air, or how many times he might see it to type it in your chat, he's not gonna let you blow him, alright? So maybe I should stop desperately trying to appeal and over idolize these celebrities, these wrestlers. The CM Punk did have one right thing. Touch grass for sure. Get some sun, get some shut eye, get some water, whatever you need to do to stay healthy. Because these wrestlers, they don't know you. They don't even, most of them don't even give a fuck. And I'm pretty sure they don't, whether it's to benefit or not. Yeah. So sorry to be that messenger, but it's reality. But alright, let's say I got let's take a look at our boy Kevin Nash here, and let's hit him with a bit of that smoke to wake up from must be living a fairy tale over there. Alright, so like I said, probably if it's not anything new already, but this is that. It's kind of like, alright, bro, you want to talk, which I'm pretty sure, LA Knight is whatever. Like I said, I pretty was kind of vocal on that, but like I said, he's still entertaining in itself. It's not like it's just like he's clearly, like I said, just a little niche, like, just a little note there. You think anybody else, especially in history, which is why it's so similar and why they might sound similar. Think anybody in history is really original? Come on, even his buddies, like Triple H is not original. Of course, Hulk Hogan is not original also. There's wrestlers, of course. There's wrestlers that, like I said, I mean, what you can call still biting off, or rip. But no, they took inspiration. Like I said, I like to call it inspiration, but they still, everybody, as they would like to say, rip off or not being original. Everybody was like that. If you really want to say that too, but even though I would call it inspiration, yeah, like, you know, so stop trying to pretend also people like stop trying to pretend when you talking about LA Knight. It's like one thing too, but like I said, like I said the last time, I don't see anybody talking shit about but I don't see anybody bringing it up to, pulling up Pizza Boy Doe himself, boy over there, Kevin Owens himself, like he using a stunner. I never saw Kevin Nash talk about him using a stunner, or a few other people, or Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle basically is cosplaying as Randy Orton. I never saw anything about that or anybody talk about that. But LA Knight is a ripoff all of a sudden. Yeah, alright, but so yeah, let's get to right here. I want to get to the important part, but yeah, so he basically said, yeah, of course, wherever he said there's so many people who agree that LA is doing The Rock Austin. I mean, the guy's been in the business for like 10 years, so why didn't he get over anywhere else? If you're not over in 3 years, it's probably just not going to happen. Well, I said, of course, so I said, this, what he said right here is just, granted, but at the same time, bro, every wrestler has had to go through, of course, to get to the big league. What are you talking about? Everybody has done that. Whether they have to go to, that's sports in general, whether they have to go to college or they have to do some type of, and I will even say too, because I've started seeing some clips. Cause yeah, I think I started seeing some clips, some old clips of LA Knight being in TNA, and I'm pretty sure that was when TNA was was well off of no more getting 3 million views, right? So, and I was that was pretty much when TNA they were slowly decaying. So like I said, he was still pretty much being in a company already that's pretty much it's not barely local anymore, and I was more so kind of over the fact that, of course, they had stars that were already established, but so you were already talking about that. No real star power on the show, and the show just overall just not that marketable, and and so how is that really come on? And then like I said, he really wanna tread those waters. We can play we definitely can play one-on-one with that. So yeah, if you look at in history also, when it comes to the lowest drawing champions, I think people bring up Eddie Guerrero, they bring up Conor Bret Hart, and they bring up I think Nash seems to be one of those champions that I think y'all can kind of see it in the thumbnail. Nash is one of those champions apparently that's one of the lowest drawing champions, and I think so. If cause I know people they all go well, I would say that when you look at that Pacific era too, when you talk about the new generation era, I guess because you can pretty much compare it today too, because that was of course one of the worst eras, or just for WWE in general, because they had lost all their stars. They had lost Hogan, they had lost then they had lost Macho Man, and then they had, because of course the whole steroid scandal, they was in the steroid scandal, and they didn't want to have a bad light, so they tried to push new people. And so they had lost Hogan, and they had lost Macho Man, they had lost also Roddy Piper, pretty much all of the stars that were in that previous precedent they had set before, pretty much back to square one. And they had of course guys much more, I guess you could say, they still had big men, but specifically smaller guys like a Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels, even though I would argue at the time that Shawn is a specialist too. They had all that, they were to take into account they didn't have any stars, and then Shawn was basically, I guess, probably like 6 or 5 years in, really not having that drawing ability, or as far as not being that really a popular star yet. So I want to, like, cause I know people like to put Shawn in that category, but like not really, because you talk about like the specific era too, and he wasn't really that over yet. So I like to bring up such as, even if people don't want to. I like Bret Hart too, but gotta admit that he was still a part of that era too that didn't really draw, even though he was like kind of he was so, even in his country Canada, but wasn't really that over when it comes to drawing money. Like, yeah, Bret Hart and like I said, Diesel. Bret Hart, you had guys like Doink the Clown, and like, cause there's a lot, even just like a lot, like in that Pacific New Generation era. Yeah, and your boy Kevin Nash was a part of that era. That, of course, they had to held the belt for 358 consecutive days. And just to go back to, yeah, like I said, that was one of the worst. Because of course you can go to the Attitude Era, where they just that's where they started. Of course, they started to more so also not only beat Nitro in the ratings, they had it back. If you go to '98, back when of course that was when the highest in peak. When you talk about, they was getting like 4 to 5, even 6 million views, bro. Oh yeah, 7 million, fact, bro. Yeah, so they were really high. It's that very obvious. But of course, one of the lowest eras when you take into account the New Generation. That's why it's the New Generation era, that Pacific era, one of the worst ever. And being that Kevin Nash also was one of the was one of those world champions. I don't remember really even him specifically. I don't remember even when he became champion too, during that Pacific time when he was. Or I don't really remember anybody really talking about Nash, even specifically, because you look up segments. Oh well, it was long. Well, it was a long time ago, but it was a long time ago. Why does like Hulk Hogan still get consistently? Like I said, whenever you bring up his name, he still gets millions of views. Why does like Ric Flair or somebody that's go back to old as that gets like millions of views, and what there's such member that today, like. So I mean, you can try to bring up that excuse all you want, but numbers are not gonna try to put a front on for you. They're gonna show you. They can't lie to you at all. Like I said, when you look at that Pacific era, it was not really that big. When you talk about in terms of pretty much like today. That when WWE gets on a specific basis, like 2.5 to like that era was bad. It was really bad, and you could tell only on the name itself that WWE was on. So that specific era was bad. Was really bad, and one like Nash. So even when you look at the Pacific era. Nash, you're not the most over guy in the, like, whichever, being that he what being that what when it comes to the NWO, being that whichever group he was in, it was all, even like Razor also being in that group. Pretty sure people like because of course being that as much as a personality or charismatic, or how much that character was over with a lot of people. Like, really think about it, what by itself was Nash really over, besides being in the NWO. So but maybe he should go back and look at this and look at that history before he talked about anybody else, like because I'm looks you're looking may need to look that over. So man, like I said, like, this shit was LA Knight, and bro, like I said, nobody's original. And whether you want to really talk about over, were you really over? You weren't really over that. You were barely not even over to not being over. You know, being that one of the lowest drawing champions ever. like I said, I don't know what it comes to. And like I said, like, I mean, yeah, like, if you want to talk about wrestlers not being original, then I don't know. Why don't you like I said before? Why not you not help out the guys that's there? Yeah, why not help them out? Why not teach them how to be very, innovative, very creative, trying to, that really trying to, find something that really fits within themselves. Instead of, didn't he also? Because I think one of the rare things I also really like. I think one time I talked about Nash, and I think he said it was like he came down to NXT and he was with Shawn or whatever, and he said these guys, they're, like nobody knows who they are, and these guys are barely stars. Like, how can they? They don't really know how. They don't know the means to how to really connect with the audience and be that much marketable with the audience when it comes to their when them not having a character or charisma. And it's like, yeah, why not teach them to this? If like bringing up words as such as not wrestlers nowadays not being original and not being having their own, legitimately having their own thing, then why not help them? Why not teach them that very thing and help them grow, so more wrestlers can knock the fact and get that. Like I said, pretty much LA Knight, like I say, when you look at that as the only one that's getting a reception. He's the only one that, like, pretty much, like I said, other than when you talk about Roman Reigns and that Pacific, the Bloodline, that Pacific situation right there, he's the only now that's like really like a consecutive thing that's on WWE that really gets a very large reception. And I guess Judgment Day to some degree. Who else on that roster is getting that reception that LA Knight is getting? So I say LA Knight, when you talk, like, try to attempt to bring up these things and really put them over. Okay, like I said, of course, like, there's nowhere in history when you look back at history. Like I said, not even your old buddy Triple H, or why not? Like I said, why not try to help the guys that's there then? If you want to, bring up this demeanor, then why are you not there helping out the guys there? Like I said, but all this original, then I don't hear the same talk about when it comes to Owens, Kevin Owens himself, or a Pacific similar wrestlers. So what is it really about, Nash? Like I said, when you take a look at your career, I'm seeing some very different things. And then LA Knight just starting off on the main roster, and he getting this amount of reaction already. And he just started. Whereas to you had to be a lackey for another guy. And then when you became world champion, it didn't really make that big of a deal to begin with. One of the lowest drawn champions of all time. Not really that much of a big of a deal when you talk about nowadays. Whether it has to do with it, one of the most popular and most recognizable groups from professional wrestling, the NWO, being that it's primarily not you. So what's the deal here? I guess I'm only looking at what's I'm only looking at what's obvious. So I don't know, Nash. It's instead of LA Knight, then like, what is this really about? Is this really about trying to, versus wrestlers in originality? Or is this really about you?